I don't even want to discuss the England game. I don't want to put any bad energy into the air whatsoever.
No.
All my focus is on this match right here, the Paris Eternal versus the Vancouver Titans. And yeah, we've already, kind of mentioned it as well a couple of times, but the Paris Eternal are playing for that place into the knockouts for the Summer Showdown. That is what's on the line here against the Vancouver Titans. And on the Vancouver Titans side, I mean, they're just playing for pure carbohydrates, trying to feed the masses. Canada, the north of America, like, you got the Americas,
like
the north of America. I don't think Canadians like to be referred as America's hat, Josh. I think that's generally frowned upon, but I wouldn't know. Those are what we're playing for today. These are the stakes that are on the line here. And of course, the first match win as well of the Vancouver Titans, which is only just below the carbohydrates. Let's take a look at the Paris Eternal starters and who they're going to be rolling out with today in this match. These guys have been so impressive over the course of the season, making vast, tremendous improvements.
They have. It's just the trajectory keeps going upwards. Now, they are at a negative win rate at the moment, 5-6, but that's still so impressive for this squad. And their recent loss to the San Francisco Shock, I don't think is going to dampen their spirits whatsoever. We highlighted Tuna on the desk, on the desk a little earlier, a former player for Vancouver who's been coming into Paris Eternal as their tracer player, their specialist on that role. But as we head into our first map, that control map, I'm anticipating many more kind of tanky, rush-based, or maybe even Orisa-based compositions to come out here. So instead, we're going to be relying on Onigot and Naga. But I do want to see Tuna come in at some point, because he didn't get a fair shot on the Vancouver Titans when he was playing for that squad last year, and now on Paris he is looking like a genuine talent. So I want him to come out there, get a bit of revenge on his former squad.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the Vancouver Titans here. And yeah, we see this lineup. Teru is actually going to be playing in the starting lineup here, which is interesting. It's been a bit of a narrative, as far as I'm aware, as well, recently, where people have been wondering, where is this guy? Why isn't he playing more often? Well, here he is, finally, fighting, or at least trying to assist his team in their first win.
Exactly, and with all breadsticks aside, the Vancouver Titans are 0-10 right now, so that is what they're playing for. If you look at the beginning of the season and expectations for these teams, yeah, people did not have high expectations for Vancouver. But when you look deep enough in the season, this was one that people penciled in as, okay, maybe they can get the win here. The Paris Eternal squad is kind of a ragtag bunch of European contenders players. That's pretty much the same way that the Vancouver Titans were built. A bunch of contenders players coming together from not the most dominant team in North America, but a bunch of like the second, third, fourth place teams coming together to make a squad. The way that these teams have been assembled is somewhat similar, except the Vancouver Titans was much more last minute in 2020. So that's the key difference here, is that the Paris Eternal seem to have found a system that really works for them, and they've outperformed expectations massively. So while you might have penciled this in as a potential win for Vancouver at the beginning of the season, it just doesn't seem like it now.
Absolutely. I mean, they've kind of ran into the unfortunate premise of the Paris Eternal kind of elevating and leveling up as a team. I mean, we were talking about the prospects of them potentially also coming back and maybe besting the San Francisco Shock. Obviously, that didn't happen, but this is a team that is not really just going to start to take these losses from this point on. They seem like they are just driven by a desire to essentially prove that the European scene as a whole, I suppose, isn't really something to be mocked and laughed at. And if if London's not going to do it, then Paris has to step up, I suppose. We're going to be heading into the match soon enough. It's going to be on Lijiang Tower as our first one. So we've got that to look forward to.
And that's why I think we're going to be seeing more kind of Mei, Reinhardt-based compositions. I imagine that Teru would come into here to play the Mei and directly replace Linksa, but I don't know for sure. The Vancouver Titans might have prepped some really interesting stuff, perhaps Teru playing Doomfist or something unusual like that. These are two teams that could throw a curveball in there. Oh look, Teru beginning on it as well, so we could definitely see a range of comps being run. But I do think that both of these teams are going to feel more comfortable running Reinhardt on Lijiang.
Would definitely agree with that. I think there's a tendency for these guys as well to be leaning more into those compositions. This is going to be where their comfort lies. And as the gates open up, we're going to see how this match is going to unfold before our very eyes. You can see Sims on the field. Maybe just going to be a temporary switch. Maybe going to be seeing some switches. No, going to be sticking with a Symmetra on either side as well. So actual mirror compositions here. And we see straight away a punch coming right into Changsig. That's going to be the Immortality Field burned very early on, and that means, yeah, Changsig is susceptible there to all sorts of damage coming through. A straight-up teamfight win there for the Paris Eternal.
It happened very quickly, Brent, but I believe what they went for there was Naga punching Changsig and Dan trying to pin him. And it kind of went through the other way around, where Changsig got the counter pin, but then got punched backwards. But either way there, too much for Changsig to be able to deal with. If you've got Naga and Khan both coming at you, you can only counter pin one of them. The other one is going to do major damage.
Yeah, very almost rock, paper, scissors-like, I suppose, of these compositions in terms of how you end up using these abilities. The Sim TV is going to be used, and now the Vancouver Titans have taken a bit of a forked approach as they're trying to assault onto this objective. You can see the Earth Shatter actually came out there from down, but he's been bursted down. Now the Amp Matrix. The Paris Eternal want to be trying to turn this and stop it from getting too out of hand, but ultimately it's the Vancouver Titans who are the ones coming out on top. Pride Wiener as well, just marking the targets effectively, making sure that they can't really prolong this fight as long as possible. So obviously the Paris Eternal want to be getting as much capture percentage as possible here, but it is going to be a flip in the end to the Vancouver Titans.
That was a little bit of hubris, I feel, for Paris. They're very sloppy engagement. Dan was the only player that went back through the Symmetra teleport and just got caught out completely. He went for a shatter, but I think he was uppercut in the middle of it. Forced out Immortality Field, just got completely caught out. So now it's Paris back pushing in into the Amp Matrix as well. This is going to be really hard for them to retake this point.
Big sound barrier here. You're going to see Dredro end up using it. It catches onto 4. Punch into the back there. Terror's not going to be finding any targets. The uppercut, but not enough to make him survive here. Potentially a winnable fight here for either side. Rolf ended up committing the Amp Matrix as well. That's just going to be sat right there at that doorway. And they're going to try and chase down Naga. Just trying to escape. The punch comes off! Frywinner didn't have the boosters. Didn't have it available to him. The point's still being flipped. Naga with a second one as well. And that could have gone the Vancouver Titans' way, but just a little bit of overstepping.
Oh, not just could have, it should have gone the Vancouver Titans' way. They had the extra Amp Matrix to be able to play around. They got the early pick onto Onigod, so they removed all of the Symmetra damage. But that's Naga diff right there. He comes in, kills Teru, gets another couple of kills, knocks Fried into the drink as well. Massive carry performance there from the Doomfist from Paris, and he's hiding, waiting for another engagement. He's been spotted though.
Yeah. Brought down to half HP, has to use his punch to get out of there. And now we see them coming through the pin onto fire. What is that? Changsig with the shatter off into the side. He misses the pin. Now he's in the back line, incredibly susceptible, and that's Naga going to be taking him out. Little uppercut as well. This is a straight up one team fight. I'm not sure.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know.
How does Fire get pinned there? I don't understand. Maybe it was a pin through a teleporter or something that just caught the backline completely off guard. It feels like Paris are playing with a lot of confidence, going for cheeky, aggressive stuff like that fairly regularly. Wouldn't be surprising.
Fried's going to be in. Needs to try and remove up that Sim teleport. Now he's going to be trying to prioritize the backline. That's not ideal. Khan ends up just essentially getting the brunt of that damage coming through. Punch from Naga as well. Has the Meteor Strike to escape. Bit of a get out of jail card for him. There's the uppercut as well to connect into that kill. That's going to be the round there for the Paris Eternal. Didn't really even need that sound barrier at the end. Firmly in control with the exception of one middle section of that round. The Paris Eternal, they're here not really even to play, just to straight up win. They understand that this is the knockouts on the line.
Exactly. Paris Eternal, they're not messing around. They want to play with a lot of confidence, sure, but they're always having a plan in the middle of these team fights, or even at the very beginning of the team fights. You can see Naga and Dan in particular, when it came to that previous composition running the Doomfist, setting up for really aggressive engagements onto the backline of Vancouver, continuously harassing them as they pass through. And now same comp for the Titans, but Paris, they move Naga over to the Junkrat. That's going to do a lot of damage, but it does offer options for Teru to land those one-hit kills. If he can get an insta-kill onto Naga or Onigod, there's a big opportunity here for this re-added player for the Titans to make a big impact.
Yeah. You can see that Seismic Slam right around the corner, taking a ton of damage, gets the punch off though. Comes onto Onigod. Nice pin though, comes out from Dan to try and turn it around. He's so weak, I can't imagine he survives this yet. Fire's going to bring him down, Bastola as well, demeched. I feel like they're all so low though. Dalton on 1 health, surely not. 40 health on him, has to back off around, but the rest of his team is going to be the remech as well onto Frywinner, so back into the action. But the way that the Paris Eternal are playing this, they've already got the bodies back onto the point with that teleport. Straight back into the fight. Going to start to try and flip this point over on their side. Dalton now committing up to the sim wall. That's going to be laid across the point now to try and suck up a bit of that damage that's coming their way. But the Amp Matrix, and yet Naga falling means, again, it's going to be missing damage here for the Paris Eternal. I don't really think they can take this team fight outside of it.
Oh, that's a beautiful play. The teleporter into the back takes down Dalton just as he was retreating, and that opens the door for Paris. Naga's going to be coming off the respawn as well. Has a Riptire available as long as they're able to kite this Amp Matrix a little bit, and they do. With the combination of the zoning defense matrix and then that sound barrier, they close the gap. And here comes the Riptire. Yeah,
oh, Tire. It's got to be big. He actually, did he kill it? Or okay, yeah, it's going to be ended. And now Teru jumping in, 25 health, is going to get taken out there by Dredro. The primary fire doing some good work here, but the Vancouver Titans doing a pretty solid job of stalling this one out. Going to be losing this team fight in the end, but not before they get rewarded with 48% on the control point.
So Paris flip. Naga moves over to Doomfist as well to try and mirror Teru, which I think is the right option. Naga was outplaying Teru when it came to the mirror, and the Junkrat didn't really find too much value. The Riptire could have been huge, but it just got eaten up completely. The Vancouver Titans did a good job of making sure that ultimate was completely negated. Now, though, Vancouver are pushing into an Amp Matrix, and Khan does so much damage through those. They're going crazy aggressive too.
Yep, straight for the choke point. They don't want to let them even try and touch this point. The TP comes through. That is a big shatter. Dan catching onto the one target, not getting that kill. That's because of the immortality field that was laid down, but it matters not. The damage is already done. And yeah, the immortality field might just prevent you from death, but doesn't prevent a lot of that pin coming through, and that's going to be Paris in control once more. The rotation of these ultimates coming online for them as well, with the sound barrier almost available.
For Vancouver, they've got to get a read at the moment that Paris are playing aggressively. Baiting out the push from Paris, backing off, maybe using a self-destruct to zone them out and buy some space would all be useful. They're going to potentially try and use...
Oh! Dan went for a pin there, expecting them to be using the teleporter, so they got all of that space for free just off a little bait.
And that's the immortality field that comes out, but now the sound barrier. How do you withstand this? They're just doing so much damage to them right now. Yes, the Amp Matrix is on the high ground, but can anybody even capitalize off of this? Self-destruct straight up into the air, it's huge! Fried Wiener with two. Bastola going to try and answer with one of his own as well. Going to get the recall of the mech. Just in the safety, but the Vancouver Titans flipping the point over thanks to some heroics from Fried.
Really nicely played. And like I said as well, that's a gorgeous teleporter play. I mean, Dan does seem to be playing very freely here. He's going for a lot more pins, a lot more solo shatters than we would usually see him go for. And here we go, Paris pathing to the high ground. This is so that Khan can get value out of this Amp Matrix, perhaps.
Yep, the Amp Matrix actually just straight up dropped onto the point here. They're going to get that sound barrier out. The point flipped over. It's a massive shatter. Connects onto two of them. Dan as well, just trying to put in the good work here. The immortality field keeps him up, but not for much longer. Teru with the punch slams him into the wall. Still the fight continues here. The Vancouver Titans not willing to give this one up. Rolf just trying to deal the damage, trying to take care of Dredro here. Naga now come back round onto the side. A big seismic slam into the punch. Not going to be connecting just that one, but does have the meteor strike to try and survive this. Does he want to use it aggressively? It looks like he is. He's going into the backline, but it's going to be blocked by the shield, and Teru just punches him out of it.
Unusually aggressive play. Everybody, I mean, Dan and Naga are playing so free. They're taking risks that would get punished against better teams. And in fact, against the Vancouver Titans there, they do get punished. Dan going for the crazy shadow, which was awesome. Caught 3 players. Got a little bullied afterwards. And then Naga going for such a wildly aggressive ultimate deep into Vancouver Titans territory. Has actually set the Titans up for a potential win right now.
I have so many ults available. Look at it. The Sim Wall's about to come online. The Meteor Strike almost as well. The Amp Matrix. How do Paris win this? It's going to be so difficult for them. Terudo gets brought down! He tried to go for the seismic slam around the corner, but just gets shot out of the sky. Now the sound barrier built up. Dredro is trying to keep his team alive. That self-destruct not going to be finding any targets. Point still being played here. Big shatter off onto the side, but the momentum carries them round the corner. Fried might have overstepped himself as well. So low, and that Earth Shatter connects. 2 down on the floor. What a ridiculous turnaround here for the Paris Eternal. And that is absolute shambles for the Vancouver Titans, considering the tools they had at their disposal. Not going to be getting the map. The Paris Eternal leading 1-0.
Unbelievable aim there from Khan towards the end. But the players that have really caught my eye, I mean, in that final team fight, the big recovery from the Paris Eternal is helped by two things. One, Onigod being able to get the free kill on Teru as he just hangs around in the air for way too long. Far too slow on that engagement and got punished as a result of it. But also, Dan is just, he feels like he's just having fun. He's so free in the Rein v Rein. They're not doing anything to try and help Changsik, and Changsik himself is getting completely outplayed.
Yeah.
That is, it actually did look a little shaky in that second round, but Paris Eternal almost making it look too easy with the final team fight win.
And despite the best efforts of the Vancouver Titans to try and punish some of the hubris that Paris are putting on show, weren't able to convert it into the map win. And we're going to find out on the other side of the break if the possibility of a bit of a comeback is here for the Vancouver Titans, whether or not they can get that second map onto the board. We'll see soon enough. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Treadlock now into the back line and gets with the both support.
Up over the top, gets a double!
And here's a coalescence from the high ground for Rolf, but wow, the timing on that one looks so good.
Really.
Fire gets 2, that is crazy! Time and a great stick from Dal, that's 3 from him!
That's crazy, they make it work!
Welcome back from the break, everybody. You're joining us right in the midst of this series here. The Paris Eternal versus the Vancouver Titans. And yeah, currently the Paris Eternal leading one map in. A reminder as well at the stakes of all of this, and it is the Paris Eternal playing for the knockouts here at the Summer Showdown. And they need the win here today to really make that happen. The Vancouver Titans, I believe there was an update, Josh. You can, you've been, essentially you are a correspondent when it comes down to the floor of the Bingo Breadstick Challenge that the Vancouver Titans are doing. What's the current update with that?
Okay, well, Lynx has come in for Teru. Let's make sure that we just address that first. But Breadsticks update. The bingo card for the Breadsticks has changed. It's shifted. They've made each of the squares quite a lot easier to accomplish, but each of them must be completed in a single map. So, for example, the one that they've completed, apparently, according to my sources, is 5 critical eliminations. They got that square, they've crossed it off. That means that they can connect 3 if they get a quad EMP coming into Junkertown. That seems quite unlikely to me, though, Bren, because I don't know any teams that really run Sombra on Junkertown. Perhaps the Shanghai Dragons, if Lip was out there, but otherwise, I'm not really thinking that Lynx has come in to play Sombra. So perhaps we're going to have to be looking elsewhere. Double team
that's
wipes
the way
of the
it
Paris
works.
Eternal, 5 melee blows in Junkertown, perhaps?
Yeah, so they can do the Titans team wipe, which we haven't got down to whether or not that means they team wipe or if they wipe the other team yet.
It's got to be them wiping Paris. It's unacceptable if it's the other way.
Yeah, I mean that's just complete BM to your own team. I mean they could go for the melee final blows. They could go for the total ult eliminations of 10, or the pulse bomb double eliminations. These are all options. But we're heading to Junkertown. The possibility is there. Let's take a look at our map leaderboard. Junkertown and Wartide. The Paris Eternal actually holding the record against Philly back in 2020. Obviously a very different Paris Eternal squad. But honestly, the same kind of energy in some sense almost. Just of these guys really just coming out swinging.
It's interesting you say that as well, because I was thinking recently about the comparisons to this year's Paris Eternal. And like, almost a Philadelphia Fusion Season 1 kind of thing, where they pick up relatively unknown players from European contenders. People like, you know, Neptuno or EQO weren't really known before they entered the Philadelphia Fusion. But that season was a big performance. It was a statement season from those players that they deserved to play on the world stage. I feel like there's some similarities. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but this Paris Eternal squad, the way that they've been able to find star talent that was scattered throughout European contenders and put it together into a well-functioning team, I think is really solid. Plus, the mid-season acquisitions of people like Dredro and Vestola have only served to improve the level of Paris. And, you know, there's no other team in the league that's doing that kind of scouting from Europe.
Yeah, certainly. It's a bit of an untapped region across the board. There's not many eyes on it, but it allows you to really pick up these hidden gems in the form of Dredro or Vestola, and the team has only benefited from it. Now, as you can see, we're heading out onto Junkertown, and we actually do see some hit scans. A bit odd the other day watching Junkertown be played with rush compositions, but now we do see a bit of Widowmaker in play here. And the Vancouver Titans are just steadily being pushed back out of a lot of these corner positions that they want to be holding here, as the Paris Eternal are just steadily moving this cart further and further in.
It's going to be very difficult for Lynxer to take fair engagements. There's a lot of pressure on Dalton here to harass Onigodo. Naga get close and open up Lynxer to be able to hold down angles effectively. Instead, though, Paris' tanks, they've just taken a flank through the house and find that big roll.
How does that happen there? The accretion, I'm not sure if that connected. They're still looking for an opportunity to try and turn this, though. Squaring up to the tank line. Vestola, though, look at this flank angle from Naga as well. And That's just a bit of a futile effort there, but that's probably going to be the checkpoint A capture in all honesty. Now, the important thing here for the Vancouver Titans is not staggering, so they can potentially hold on this high ground. And it's going to be maybe difficult for them to get into position for it, running the double shield. They don't have the speed boost, and we have a pause, so they've got plenty of time to think about it.
Yeah, they can come up with a strategy. I mean, their strategy for point A was just simply too slow. Smiles over in the Vancouver camp, though, so those guys are chilling. It's another day at the office. But I want to talk a little bit about the team fight that we just saw, too, because the Paris Eternal went for a fairly standard play, where you try and push your tank line around towards the back line of the Vancouver Titans to see if you can find a halt rock or a halt into some damage coming out from Naga, and then the Vancouver Titans, the idea is that they're supposed to readjust their positioning to make sure that they cover the flank. Unfortunately, what has been a recurring problem with some of these lower level teams, and especially the Titans over in North America, and the reason, one of the reasons at least, that they haven't been able to put a win on the board right now is that they're just slow with being able to communicate and adjust positioning. And you end up getting caught out and making mistakes a lot because you haven't done things quickly enough.
Yeah.
In order to adjust your positioning there, you have to anticipate the threat, you have to call it early enough, scout it, get vision on it, call it, and then start rotating. If one piece of that puzzle is a bit too late, and you haven't escorted your backline into a safer position, you're just going to lose a player, lose a team fight, and get snowballed. It's rough, and those kind of mistakes are somewhat difficult to solve as well, because there's a large moving puzzle going on there. There's a lot more to the game than meets the eye.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's take a look at the IBM power rankings here for Brigitte. I believe we have a graphic built for this one, and you can see here Drijo at number 5, and yeah, I believe 100 is. I don't really know how exactly it works when you're looking at individual heroes, I suppose, but I mean, number 5 on the rankings, nothing to scoff at.
It certainly isn't, yeah. I mean, 100 when we're talking about players overall is kind of what you're noticing as the average, but it doesn't quite work as a direct translation when we go into these hero-specific ones, because some heroes are perceived by IBM Watson to have a larger impact than others on the team fight. So, you know, something like a D.Va or a Tracer, for example, will get extremely high numbers above 100 because they're perceived to be having large impact. Something like Symmetra will have very low numbers because you're just shooting shields the majority of the time, and your impact isn't translated to statistics. Here, though, I mean, Drijo is in good company. People like Skewed, Nisha, Lee Jae Gon, those guys have got fantastic Brigittas. So he's clearly doing some stuff very well.
Yeah, just waiting on the Vancouver Titans to fix up some communication issues. Some of the software they're using seems to be having some problems, but I think they're getting it solved as we speak. I hope so, at least. It'd be a little bit weird if they weren't getting it solved.
It would be a problem, wouldn't it? They were just sat there. They're just like, yeah, we're just going to chill. Now, I mean, I like seeing the Vancouver Titans, though, in positive moods. I mean, look at them. They're clearly not down, dejected, and in their own heads. That's really important to me, because the Vancouver Titans are 0-10 right now. There's only 16 games in the regular season. It would be so easy for a team to just feel boomed at this point and just not even give 20% when it came to matches. The Titans, though, there did seem to be some periods in the June Joust when they had that insane strength of schedule where they looked a little boomed, but they've come out and they are playing to win here. It's just that they're not quite able to get all the execution down in some of these fights.
Good control of the high ground here from Dalton, as he's trying to put some pressure here onto Naga, but okay, well, Naga's the one who comes out on top. A little bit of a climb there just before the gate closes up, a little bit dangerous, but you see now that Gravitic Flux is used. It forces out the Immortality Field, and Drijo will fall. Potentially an opening now for the Vancouver Titans. They are letting this cart get a decent amount, and what a dragon. You never expect it there from the low ground. Just pierces right through the defense there of the Vancouver Titans, and they're forced to drop down to the low ground, right into the grasp of the Paris Eternal. This cart will be moving forwards.
They got a couple of picks there, though, so Khan isn't going to be able to set up in an advanced position with his Amp Matrix, and Naga isn't going to be hiding around a corner or grabbing information with his Sonic Arrow, so there are opportunities for the Vancouver Titans to recontest. You're looking honestly towards their tank line. They need to be able to come out here, get good value out of their tank ultimates, and Dalton looking like he wants to get value out of a Pulse Bomb as well.
Yeah, this Supercharger is problematic, though. Pulse Bomb, that's going to be a miss, and Onigod with the headshot. I mean, it didn't even need to fully charge when you got the damage boost applied at the end of the day, and he's finding his marks. Nice attempt here, though, by the Vancouver Titans. They recognize, okay, we're not going to be taking the fight there. Instead, pushing all the way into them. This is potentially a bit of hubris there from Onigod. Dropping down to low round. Pops the infra side as well. And this fight has been taking place on 2 fronts right now. The Vancouver Titans seem to be losing both of them.
Yeah, the Vancouver Titans were winning for a while, but they just couldn't get through Dredro. Oh, he was doing so much damage there, and they are never paying attention to Naga. It's painful to watch sometimes with Vancouver because they get themselves in good, winnable scenarios, but the mistakes are too frequent and too large, so that even when they've done something really well, it ends up not working out for them in the long run. If Paris can just hold on and minimize their own mistakes, they just have to kind of wait for Vancouver to fluff something. And there they weren't able to commit to the fights properly, weren't able to isolate Dredro and take him out. That's a nice little flank from Linksa that sets him up with a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, nice shot. Pretty difficult as well to get that on the Hanzo, as Bo sometimes gets in the way of his head hitbox, which is always annoying. That's coming from the heart right there, Josh. I've been through it many times.
Oh, I understand. I understand.
And it's a lovely, lovely opening here for them. Dalton gets brought down, though, and Onigod's still taking these aggressive angles around the corner. A two-player advantage. Seems like it was going their way. Linksa with that pick onto Onigod. That should be very beneficial for them, but the Vancouver Titans need to stay alive here. Calm with the Immortality Field, trying to keep them up and alive. 65 health, just trying to dodge the shots, but Linksa will find them anyway. And that's a nice little cleanup here. The Paris Eternal getting stopped just before they go around the corner there with that cart.
The Immortality Field just a little too late. Oh, Changsik, that is rough. That's another one of those errors where Linksa kills, what, 3-4 people in a team fight to be able to clean up. And they look like, okay, now we can set up for a forward hold. And then Changsik just dies in an entirely avoidable manner. And now you've opened the door for Paris again. Linksa's going to pop his infra sight here probably to mirror Onigod's, but he's getting harassed by Dan. And in the midst of all of this, by the way, Dan has moved over to Ball and Naga to Genji. So they're playing a very unusual composition now, Paris.
Yeah, very unusual. A lot of high ground prioritization with this. The power driver doesn't quite connect there, but Frywiener with the Gravitic Flux is finding a bountiful harvest. That kill onto Khan. It's going to be setting his team up for success here. Trying to press the advantage now as they're pushing straight into them. Pistola falling. The mine's being committed. They actually want to take this fight. The Immortality forced out as well by Naga on the Genji, but eventually taken out anyway.
I don't know what this is about. I simply... I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely lost. That was a 3v5, something like that, and Naga goes in with Dan popping mines. I don't really understand. I mean, it looks like Dan wanted to make the swap over to Orisa, so clearly not valuing the mines at all there. Maybe Naga just trying to generate up his Dragon Blade towards the end so he has it for the next fight. But these are going to be some fundamental swaps. Going back to double shield. Onigod on Hanzo this time instead of Naga. But my question remains, how do they get value out of this Dragon Blade? Who does Naga target? Linksa, the backline? There's just so many tools to keep those guys alive.
I think you're literally using the Dragon Blade to force out a Mortality Field here. Because there's nothing to really enable you. I mean,
is that value from a Genji?
I mean, Genji in 2021, here it is. He's forced out the Immortality Fields, and he's trying to get the swings coming through. Stunned up. Nice little... Again, two-pronged approach there coming out from the Paris Eternal as they are still taking this high ground. But yeah, no value going to be gained there from the Dragon Blade, but the burst damage is coming through anyway. Dalton turning it around though. That Pulse Bomb connecting onto Vistola. Still trying to stay alive, but not going to be receiving the healing there. And with the rally in the back line, a dangerous scenario. You see the counter charges coming out there, I believe, onto the Brigitte players, putting them down. But the Paris Eternal finally breaking through that hold that the Vancouver Titans had.
It's another team fight that Vancouver should have won, but Changsik making some big mistakes with his positioning. And they fed Naga almost another Dragon Blade here. He's at 75%. He's 3/4 of the way to another blade, and he's still got rally armor to be able to just carry on building that up. Obviously, they have to kite this ultimate that comes out from Changsik now. They can't face all of that extra damage. But Paris are going to be straight back into this.
Dalton dying again there. That's not ideal. And they can slowly push out these little extremities here as they're pushing right into the final section of Junkertown. Khan building up this Amp Matrix. As soon as he gets this, you know it's going to be deadly. Lays it down. The Immortality Field to save his team. It's clinical. Watching a master at work right here from this point of view. Another blade being built up here by Naga, and that is a beautiful set of kills. Supplemented there with the supercharger. They're going to be finishing with 14 seconds to spare.
all in all, not an unusually high time bank or not Vancouver putting up too much resistance. It's just Paris managing to get the payload across the line despite some mistakes and despite some unusual compositions and engagements. Vancouver, they're really, even though the time bank is not enormous, it was not a particularly good defense from them, and I don't exactly... I mean, my attention is being brought towards Changsik. His positioning, I think, needs to be adjusted. I think Fried is playing a great game. Lynx is finding those picks that he needs to be able to. And the backline dealt with the Genji Blade fairly well. You know, Rolf and Fire are at least holding their ground, not getting caught out and misusing their abilities. But the positioning of Changsik on the Orisa was getting caught time and again. And the Paris Eternal are going to run a rush comp to hold them at the spawn.
Yes, they're going to be trying to get as many team fights as possible here. I mean, a bit of a comfort pick for them, I suppose, as well. I think they're just probably understanding that they can abuse some of the tendencies, but you've already pointed out as well, Josh, about the weaknesses of Chansik. Lovely blade from Naga here. I mean, he didn't even have to supercharge it for the majority of it, but they were so low, he could just clean them up nice and easy. And here we see the Paris Eternal trying to set up this forward defense. They're going to hear them running up to the door, so the Vancouver Titans are going to notice. They should, at least, be aware. And yeah, it's going to be called out here. So Lynx are taking a far right approach. Going to be making some switches, presumably. They don't want to be fighting into this one. Yes, they are.
Good to be back.
It's an interesting switch. You can see a lot of damage being available to them here, but they are going to struggle to try and get into a position to fight. A lot of eyes on Lynx here to try and set up a lot of that damage coming through. The beam comes down. Doesn't quite connect the kill, but Onigod has fallen. Be some nice sticky bombs. Majority of them getting 8 up there, though. Finding it hard to get too much done. The Icicles of Naga. That is beautiful aim. Finding that on the moving target. It's hard enough, I suppose, when you are playing the Mei. Sometimes their Icicles can feel like hit scan, I suppose, at the end of the day as well, but Naga is not struggling in the slightest. Nice attempt here from Dalton as well, pushing forwards. See Naga just still hitting the heads. The Paris Eternal holding onto this spawn door, already a minute burnt off. And it does not look like they're really being pressed that hard at all. Onigod on the Sombra now as well, trying to get some of those neutral hacks to try and at least hold them just a little bit more further forward here. Drijo with the sound barrier gives them a lot of health to work with, and Fried Wiener just locked up there. Couldn't escape, taken down almost immediately. A nice rotation though here as they're being pressured. The Vancouver Titans cannot play this, but the Fire Strike fade away. That's going to be cleaning up Dalton with no questions asked, and it is getting into tragic territory right now if you are a Vancouver Titans fan. I think they are just really grasping for answers.
It's been so rough. My internet is actually a Vancouver Titans fan as well, because it gave up trying to show me the game, I think. My internet just said, no, you don't want to see that stuff. Paris are holding them at the spawn. Vistola's about to get his mech back as well, so this is all just going to continue. They have Blizzard and EMP.
The Earth Shatter connects! Oh, no. It's
Spain
a disaster.
Without the S.
Spain without the S, yeah. Oh my goodness. The cart not moving. Just an absolute clinic here. The Vancouver Titans are just struggling to come up with the answers to try and break this right now. I mean, the appropriate response, I feel like, is trying to match them in the mirror, but they just are not really tending towards it. For whatever reason, the EMP almost online now for Onigod as well. Waiting for a good opportunity to get it off online. That's only connecting onto the one tank. It's Fried. Frozen up, though. Both of the tanks going to be locked out of this fight for now. An opening here for the Vancouver Titans, assuming they can convert that one pick into anything at all. The recall mech kill onto Lynxer at the spawn door. Oh, no.
That is absolutely brutal. It feels almost disrespectful what Vistola was going for there. Diva Remech Limb is on the bingo card for Breakensticks, but it has to be the Titans that pull it out. You're looking at Fried to do it, not Vistola. The good thing here for Vancouver, if you can even call it a silver lining, is the Paris are getting bled out of their ultimates. They only really have this Amp Matrix to work with.
That's a lovely ice wall that blocks off a lot of that Deadeye. This Primal Rage should get value in close quarters, but Chansik is frozen up. Still, the Ice Block. He's trying to go for this one target. Eventually, they find Naga. But Paris Eternal not giving up here just yet. Dan with a huge anti-nade actually gets applied to him. That's all for Rolf. Means he can't be healed through that one. So finally, Josh, finally, they break through this chokehold that they had at the spawn door. But 10 seconds remaining, and they're only halfway through checkpoint A.
It's all going to be overtime from here on out. Now, again, thankfully, Paris Eternal don't have that many ults to be able to get use out of. I'd like to see an aggressive nano boost be used here from Rolf. If he builds it up and he can get it. Oh, Link's
the hack onto Linksa! The hack onto Linksa. He couldn't Wraith form out. Now you see this nano boost onto Chansik. He needs to try and get something done, but the sound barrier is really just stopping him from getting any sort of ult charge being built. Has to jump away from the Blizzard. The overtime going. This is all Paris Eternal right now. And one by one, they are going to fall, the Vancouver Titans. Not even close when it comes to that map. The Paris Eternal are going to be leading the series now 2-0.
Yeah, that map was Rolf without the R and the L. That was an unfortunate one.
Yeah,
honestly, the defense from Vancouver, it's not like it was appalling. You know, they had their moments of being able to find value, and I think Paris made enough mistakes to allow Vancouver into it a little. That attack never got going. I mean, they just never had a good plan of what they wanted to do to break that hold. Couldn't find the picks, couldn't reset at the spawn to be able to use their spawn advantage effectively. That's a bit of a tilter.
It is a bit of a tilter. We're going to see soon enough what the appropriate response is here from the Vancouver Titans. Map number 3, which is coming up on the other side of this break. You don't want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. You never know. Could be seeing some carbohydrates delivered across Canada. Maybe.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home or renter's insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back from the break, everybody, and yes, a new tournament means a new bracket is unlocked. Can you get the perfect bracket for the Summer Showdown? I guarantee you, you're already beating me. So go to pick'em.overwatchleague.com to submit your picks for this week's matches, and you're playing, obviously, for the chance to win that $500 and the Lucio statue for first place, and it is a wonderful statue at that. So yeah, definitely visit our website, definitely get your picks in, and make sure you don't mess up the double points matches. I always mess those up. I don't think I've gotten a double point match right in I don't know how long, Josh, but they are the bane of my existence.
Was this a double point match?
I don't believe so. I could be wrong, though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think I would have got this wrong. I don't think I would have got this one wrong. I mean, it's not over yet. I could still get it wrong.
Exactly. We all still might. I want to do a little bit of a breadstick check-in as well, because as we head towards our next map, right, we've got Volskaya Industries coming up, giving it its full formal name, including the surname there. We've got Mr. Industries coming up. Yeah. And that means that we could potentially see Sombra being played. If we see Sombra, if we see a quad EMP, carbohydrates are being delivered out. The lawyers can't delay anymore.
Quite lore-friendly as well.
It is.
For the, you know, you remember the Sombra cinematic? And she's breaking in. And what does Volskaya produce as well? I mean, they're an industry. They're industry.
Yeah, they're producing those mechs. They're producing the
giant robots.
I mean, I'm sure they produce other things as well. There's probably not just one factory that only produces that. That would be relatively inefficient use of a factory, I feel. How many war mechs can be even required across the world? Perhaps
I mean, I mean, in the Overwatch universe, I mean, I feel like they're coming, I don't really know, to be honest. Are they coming at the tail end of the war? We really don't have that much information about the Overwatch universe. Maybe this is what Overwatch 2 was going to reveal as well. Maybe I should be writing the lore.
Well, I disagree with that final portion. And also, I don't know whether it's necessarily that we don't know enough about... I don't think it's necessarily that there isn't enough information available. I think it's that we are profoundly ignorant. Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're
Someone
right,
out there knows exactly what Volskaya is for. They know the coordinates on a map. They know the work schedules of all of the people.
That's true.
They've got punch card replicas, all sorts.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure the information is out there. It's just, as you said, quite ignorant of it. But I quite like it, you know. Sometimes I just inject my own lore into it and speak it with enough confidence that it just sounds like I'm correct. What were you so amazed at there?
Well, the little stat card that came up at the bottom, the last times that these two teams faced off on an assault map, it went forever. It went over and over and over again, racking up round after round after round after round. So we could be in for a doozy right here. Or the Vancouver Titans might end up getting spawn capped again. They're starting on defense here, similar to Junkertown. And so Paris are just scouting things out, seeing what composition they want to swap to.
Yeah. So the TP's there for just wetting it out, going to talk it out, and get an understanding of what they want to be running against the Vancouver Titans composition. The Vancouver Titans are running this kind of dive, well, it is a dive composition here, not the double bubble, but just trying to basically chunk them down. I suppose the ult rotation still comes into effect with the Nano Boost and the Primal Rage and trying to rotate that, but we'll see how Paris opt to try and break into it. Onigod gets beaten down there, marked by Dalton there as he tried to just blink into the left-hand approach of the map.
And you can't be too sloppy when you play against Vancouver. They will punish obvious mistakes. You know, they're still Overwatch League level players. So something like that, where Onigod just tries to sneak his way in, Dalton's on top of it. They've still got that fire to play. A minute just nicked off the clock here, and Khan's still only at 40% of the Nano Boost, so no major inroads, but again, it's chance it caught out. How many times in the series?
I am so impressed with Naga on the Echo. This guy, in terms of his raw aim, the tracking, it's a very demanding. As much as people like to make the argument that she's, you know, a bit overtuned at the moment, it's a very demanding hero in terms of your mechanics, and it's always impressive to me when I see people who have a perfect understanding of how to use their abilities correctly in terms of managing the flight, the beam. Not only hitting the projectile tri-shots, but just landing everything. And they are a menace on the battlefield. I mean, the guy is just tearing through them. Khan almost building up this Nano Boost as well. That's probably going to be applied up to Dan. to get them into the fight, to try and create a bit of space as well.
It might even get applied over to Naga. There we go. Good eat, actually, from FRD. Gobbled up that Bionade that was headed into the back lines, and it's Dan, sorry, that takes the Nano Boost.
Yes, you can see a bit of a dive into the backline though there. Khan gets taken down.
Dive.
It was a counter dive, came out with the Nano Boost applied onto Chansik. And it's an even fight, but an even fight still works out for the Vancouver Titans, or as I say that. Oh, have I spoken too soon? Chansik's so close to falling there. Grabbed. The big old health pack is going to get brought up to about half HP. Has to back off though with the help of his team. And Paris are still in this one. Dalton, no, he's not having it. It's going to be tracking down Onigod. It takes him out, and now he can focus his attention onto the point. Nice tracking through the air, almost cleaving through Dan. Has a pulse bomb in hand as well, looking for an opportunity to just let it rip and see if he can turn this fight around for his team and make it just that bit more competitive for them. Dodging that sleep comes through. That pulse bomb not quite connecting. 15 health, has to use the recall.
Dan managed to get up his Primal Rage in the midst of that, almost brought down. And Onigod is still doing work. He gets revenge on Dalton this time around, clips him with some criticals to the head. And the Vancouver Titans are desperate here. Fire Pop in the rally, trying to get back in, but Pistola zoning everybody away, catches that kill onto Rolf, and it's only FRD playing the objective.
Deadeye from the side. That was Pistola eating it with the defense matrix from the side. Beautiful heads-up play there from the off-tank of the Paris Eternal, and this is a very quick capture indeed. 3 minutes 42 seconds. Not playing around. They had a bit of a stall moment there when they were losing a couple of players here and there, but not going to be denied that checkpoint B.
They didn't even really hard reset at any point. That was, in some senses, a continuation of the first fight that they had on checkpoint B. They went for some soft resets, but Vancouver were never fully in control of the map. Paris always had either their backline in position or their tanks ready to re-engage. When Onigod died, Dan went back in with Naga's duplicate, so they had a double Winston dive. Paris Eternal are definitely playing a little looser than they would have to against one of the top teams in the league, but they just feel like they can make use of the opportunities. Vancouver don't have to give them too much of an in, and Paris are happy to take it. We'll see whether this prophecy from the past, perhaps, comes true. Like the statistic that we showed you earlier said, last time these two teams played on Assault, it went back and forth with neither team being able to defend. Can Paris tighten the screws?
This is a very different Paris Eternal compared to the one that we were anticipating. I remember we were looking at the schedule, Josh, as well, of this match here, and it was at the point where the Paris Eternal were kind of just really trying to find their footing at the beginning of the season, and we were thinking, oh boy, we're gonna have another one of those matches, you know, the Battle of the Bread Bowl almost. But it hasn't been like that. I've been so impressed with the Paris Eternal. I cannot help but sing their praises enough because of the overall expectations of the Paris Eternal coming into the season was so low, and they've just exceeded those expectations as we've reached this midway point of the 2021 season, to the point where they are one map away from securing a place in the knockouts for the Summer Showdown tournament.
Exactly, that's what they're playing for right here. It would be incredible if this team was able to make it to Hawaii. That's just a phenomenal achievement that nobody expected from our two European squads. But they've got to be able to close it out here. Vancouver Titans have already taken some decent space and a lot of damage onto Dan. He needs heals, he can't quite get them. I think that was Fried with the defense matrix, making sure that Khan couldn't get him to him.
Yeah, wonderful little heads-up play there from them. Big Bionade onto Vancouver Titans. Connects onto 3 of them here. Paris still on the defense. They've taken so much damage. It's almost inevitable that they're going to get picked off if they try and take this fight. Especially with Linksa. That's another large Bionade onto both Fire and Linksa, forcing them back for now. Drijo is just making sure that Chansik can't get away with anything. Slept up onto the ground, but Pistola taken out. Khan, though, these are shots onto Rolf as well, trying to sink it up with the backline. This is ridiculous. Nobody's dealt with Khan on the high ground, and he's just following up on all the damage that Onigod's doing.
That is outrageous. He got a Bionade into the backline and takes down both of the supports on his own. He needs to be dealt with, and he can't be. They killed Chansik as well. That is absurd.
This is absurd. I mean, look at him. He's tearing through them. A bit of a overstaying his welcome, I suppose, there, as he does get removed from the fight. But the fact that they've even held on to this, denying them even the second tick, is astounding.
That's one of the best individual Ana plays we've seen in a long time. He put the sleep onto Chansik, gets the kill in the backline, another sleep onto Chansik, Nano Boost so that his Tracer can help deal with it. He's carrying.
He certainly is. Deadeye from on high. Linksa has to get a pick off, but they're respecting it for now. The bubble dropped just in time, but Naga goes down to the whip shot. Now the Primal Rage coming through, just stopped the momentum in midair with that flashbang, but Chansig is dead.
Again,
Now,
the bash, the sleep.
not ideal for them. You need your main tank player in these fights to just create the space for your DPS to pop off. Druidra goes down to the pulse bomb though. It's going to be the Self-Destruct on top. Bubble eating up a lot of the damage, but it feels like this surely is the Vancouver Titans' time to shine here. Only a couple of players left standing, and Khan, yeah, there's not really too much he can do. Still manages to get the sleep dart off. The nano boost as well. They're committing the ults into this fight.
No shot.
Pistola has the durability, but yeah, you're right, Josh. There is no shot in hell that they're able to stall that one out. That is a little bit of hubris, but I suppose, you know, when you're on cloud 9 like that, Khan especially popping off, why not just throw everything into the fight to turn it?
He thinks he's immortal, he thinks he's Superman, and obviously he does. With the performance he had defending checkpoint A there, Khan thinks, yeah, of course, nothing can go wrong. The Midas touch. Unfortunately, yeah, that nano boost does get wasted, but I'm not mad about it at all.
Duplicate has to be used here, because now he wants to try and stay alive. Bubble laid down, and he's built up this Primal. It's going to get used, you know. You just need to figure out when, and he's searching for these targets. There's Fried going down. And the Self-Destruct setup play there, as Rolf is going to be getting that kill, or getting taken out, I should say. So, an immediate answer back there from the Paris Eternal in terms of stopping the momentum of the Vancouver Titans just before they could really get the ball rolling.
And this defense has definitely been better, but when you look at the time bank, they've still got a lot to be able to tick off. But for Vancouver now, it becomes a situation where you have to be able to deal with any kind of aggressive defense, which it looks like Paris is setting up for. Anytime your backline is this aggressively positioned, it indicates to me that Paris want to dive deep. But now they're starting to back off, just faking it for Vancouver as they get back into much more normal, standard positions. And you want to be seeing stuff like the nano boost being applied to Changsig, getting deep, using his Primal to create space for Linksa to really perform.
Flash bang off to the side here. Linksa just needs to keep one eye onto the skies, because otherwise that's going to happen. As soon as Naga's just given the slightest of opportunities to jump onto them, he will. Chansig gets 2 though now with the Primal Rage. It's faded, he's behind enemy lines. But yeah, the way this fight has gone, it's not enough, and he realizes it. Straight into the drink, resetting with the rest of his team.
Yeah, they also layered their ultimates pretty poorly there. Rolf applied the nano boost to Changsig, and he almost immediately had to pop his Primal, or not had to, he did just pop, he chose himself to pop his Primal Rage, so he's going around with a nano boosted Primal in the backline, which, you know, it does a lot of damage, but it's not an efficient way of getting good value out of both of them. And even worse than that, Vancouver's backline just couldn't hold on. Even though Changsig and Dalton went aggressive, Paris didn't care about it. They just went crazy aggro themselves. You've got to think, with the way that these compositions work, the Tracer Echo team is going to be the aggressor 9 times out of 10. Vancouver have to deal with that before the counter dives come.
Oh my god, with the 2-piece! Dalton immediately with the pulse bomb of his own. Linksa as well, flashbang into the melee. Khan gets taken out. But an even fight, again, going to be favoring the defenders here. Onigal just needs to try and stay alive. I mean, actually going to be chasing Dalton deep onto that mini health pack, and okay, taken out as well. That's Fried actually with some default fire, but still not enough.
Yeah, for Vancouver. Okay, let's take a look at this replay first. How this pulse bomb came through. Just a blink into the middle, he dumps it on the floor.
Yeah, everyone sits on it.
Everyone was so clumped up, though, from Vancouver Titans because the Paris Eternals tanks and Naga are pressuring them. So the Vancouver Titans, they want to blob up because they're playing with that backline, with the McCree, with the Brig. They play better as a unit. Fortunately, it leaves them open to stuff like that.
You see Linksa led in with the Deadeye there, and every time you think Vancouver Titans are going to get this pick, Naga's there in the backline. The duplicate now over to the Ana, and he's finding the pickoffs for it. The heals as well, look at this! Khan being kept up straight through it, then Ana boost applied onto Pistola. I mean, why not? You're building it up so quickly. And at this point, they're just stalling.
They have double sleep to be able to stagger as well. Okay, they don't end up going for it, but in theory there, they could have staggered Fried for a long, long time. Lynx has made the move over to Hanzo, which he can operate from slightly longer ranges, he can play the high grounds a little more, perhaps it will be helpful, but he doesn't have the CC to stop the Paris Eternals dives.
And the aggression comes through. Onigal with the pulse, that is a great stick. Rolf's out of the fight, Fire's out of the fight. The Vancouver Titans have no heals with 10 seconds remaining. That's the quick little beat down there from Onigod, and at this point, it's pretty much over unless somebody's going to be able to touch in 2 seconds remaining. Chance8 will commit to it, but yeah, he's going to pay with his life. And that is going to be the Paris Eternal getting a nice 3-0 sweep. Going to be pleased with that one. They've secured a place in the knockouts. GG in the chat all around. And disappointment once more for the Vancouver Titans.
Yeah, this week was not really the week that secured it for Paris. It was their incredible reverse sweep over the Los Angeles Gladiators last week that really was the difficult match for them to be able to make it into the knockouts. But nevertheless, they had to actually get the W here today, and they do. They get their season back to 500 with a 6-6 overall record, and they are on an upwards trajectory. I would not be surprised to see this team make it through the knockouts. It's going to be very difficult for them, but it wouldn't be a major surprise. They're looking like one of our better teams out here, and they have an opportunity to punch upwards. It's a great squad to keep on the lookout for, and so many of these European fans or fans of European contenders players are getting what they've been so lacking from, like the 2019 Paris Eternal or the 2021 London Spitfire. This squad is stacked full of EU contenders talent that is doing so well together.
They really are. Yeah, I mean, these guys, you can see, it's a couple of smiles, obviously, all around, but it's a fight, I think, a match as well they expected and anticipated that they were going to win in the end. So congratulations to them for securing that knockout spot. Wonderful, wonderful stuff from them. And yeah, I mean, I'm dead impressed with just, I think, the overall team's kind of movement as well as we come into the season. But the player of the match, presented by Xfinity, we're going to be giving it to Dan for this one. I think Dan's performance overall on the main tank as well. There's not many games where you can really say MTD, I feel like. It's a bit of a meme in the community. But in this one, Dan was absolutely having his way.
He was, and Dan was really making the difference here. He had so much freedom to be able to do whatever he wanted. If you think back to map 1, he's landing shatters left, right, and center. In this map, completely outplaying Changsik when it came to Orisa as well. And in this final map, okay, Khan stole the show when it came to Volskaya. I'll give him that. Khan is always incredible. But his counterpart at main tank, Dan, was still there, still putting in the work and doing a great job, showcasing for this team that when he's given the space and the freedom and when he's not playing against a team that's as punishing, he's still putting up those big performances.
Absolutely is. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful showing today. And we'll see how far this Paris Eternal squad can take it. Because, Josh, I mean, I'm in the same agreement as you, I think, as well, with the knockouts. I mean, this team, the way that they're going, I wouldn't be surprised to see them make it up. The way that the seeding lands, you never know how or which teams in the North American side of things will make it through. It's funny talking about the North American side of things with the Paris Eternal, but that's the way the cards land.
The Western side of things.
Yeah, the Western side of things. There you go, that's a better way to put it. Anyway, that's going to do it for match number 1, and that's going to do it for us. We'll find out on the other side of the break. We've got an interview with Naga. You don't want to miss that one as well. There's more Overwatch League action as well. A couple more matches coming your way, so don't miss that in the slightest. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break presented by Pringles. We're joined now by Naga from Paris Eternal. Naga, congratulations on the win today. How are you feeling right now?
Thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate it. I'm feeling very, very good. I'm happy about the victory.
Very, very good. I'm happy for you guys as well because, you know, again, big congratulations on the win. And with today's win, you guys are making into the knockout rounds. And this is your Paris Eternal's first knockout rounds of the season. You know, you guys had a great summer showdown with a 3-1 record. What sort of gave you guys the edge in this tournament compared to the previous two that we had?
I think we had some time as a team to progress together, and it's kind of showing now that everything is coming together and we're comfortable playing with each other. In the last tournament we didn't have that much practice before our matches, so now we just have the perfect situation to perform our best, and we can actually get our full potential.
Okay. Do you believe that it's sort of like a confidence thing, whereas in the previous tournaments you guys were sort of lacking confidence and with those team synergy, but now you guys are building up more confidence? That's sort of showing in your performances?
Yeah, I think so. That's probably a big part of it as well. I think at this point anyone at the team believe 100% that we can beat any team we meet, without doubt. So it's all about performing whenever we get in those matches. And then we're certain that we can beat everyone at this point. So that's a nice feeling, by the way.
It sure is. Nice. All right, and my second question, before going into it, quick question before a question, Naga. Do you like breadsticks?
They're alright. They're kind of boring, but I haven't tried them that much. Yeah, they're kind of boring.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm asking this because, you know, did you consider, like, even for like a second, to, you know, sort of help out Vancouver and for the Vancouver fans to, you know, get some breadsticks?
Nah, not at all, actually. I mean, we want to win, and we also want to win in the most dominant way as possible. So there's no, it is competition, so there's no breadsticks given out for free here.
That's so true. I mean, yeah, I mean, I was gonna say if you like breadsticks, you know, there might be, you know, you could have sort of helped them out. But hey, if you are not a big breadstick fan, I totally get it. And you know, all the things that you said are true. Being competitive and, you know, winning in a dominant fashion is very important. And with that being said, Naga, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much, and good luck in the knockout rounds.
I appreciate it. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's head back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Danny. Thanks a lot, Naga. What a polite young man he is.
Except for the breadsticks. Not that polite. Not polite enough to give everyone breadsticks, but polite enough to be.
He's right, though. But he's like, his whole like, thank you so much. I love him. There we go.
Well, also, I mean, Denmark won earlier today, so that he's really happy about that. You know, good vibes.
Oh, more importantly,
Good
Dave was one as well. Paris Eternal, right? Dominant fashion.
That's
no
true as well. Yes. Totally.
I like him. That's great. Thank you once again for all the insight. It's good to know that there is no freebies being handed out either. Now, with today's win, the Eternal are the first team to actually clinch a spot for the knockout rounds in our summer showdown. Now, it's their first time actually making it to the knockout round all season long. They have been progressing each and every stage. They've been winning more games, and now they finally made it in. And I can't wait to see just how far they will get. Now, what's led to this improvement for Paris, though?
I mean, I feel like the way they pick these compositions and the way they play these compositions. Costa hit on it yesterday, actually, after the match. How he liked how they played these different compositions and how they had a good idea about what they wanted to play, but the individual skill wasn't there. I completely agree with Costa. I mean, they can play these Reinhardt compositions at a really high level. We saw on Legion Tower. Naga can pull out the Genji on Junkertown if need be, with Dan playing the Orisa, Pistola playing the Sigma. And then also, if you need to, you can play the Wrecking Ball. Dan will just swap over to the Wrecking Ball. We saw how they adjusted to their win against the Gladiators last week as well, when they just swapped composition on the fly. This is a team that is very smart about the way they approach Overwatch. They have an identity, they trust each other with these different hero swaps, and that is something that I think a lot of teams around the league could learn about. You know, being able to play to your identity, have a play style, trusting your teammates. This is a complete Overwatch team. You know, when we came into the season, we talked about London Spitfire and how they have a really good record in the contenders region, and how now going up to the Overwatch League, London are going to be really good. Paris Eternal just surpassed London Spitfire. I mean, they have 6 more wins. So, you know, that's good. But just overall,
That's
like
good,
as a team, the identity, the teamwork, Paris Eternal is honestly a really good Overwatch team right now because they understand what their mission is. They have a great teamwork going. I'm a big fan of the Paris Eternal. I think they're going to be a real challenge come the Summer Showdown knockouts.
Same. And they're very polite also, which I just appreciate. Much love for the Paris Eternal. Also, their social media team has it out for us. I'm slightly scared every time we predict against them. Like, they're aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, though, of course. Mostly if we're actually predicting them to win, everything comes through and everyone's happy. And that's what we all care about. Now, we are just minutes away from seeing Checkmate make his debut on the tanking role for the Mayhem. And I mean, he can have a rougher debut if there is really. Like, the first opponent going up against the Dallas Fuel, going up against Fearless himself, the Winston Extraordinaire. So I just want to ask you, like, what are the expectations? Like, what do you want to see from the Mayhem? How far can they go with this?
I'm not really looking at this match of who's going to win, who's going to lose, because I feel like it is quite cut and dry. I could be wrong, but I feel like it is quite cut and dry. What I want to see is how both teams are performing, right? Are the Dallas Fuel going to lean heavily into that Winston style again and just run with it? And how good are they? Have they found their identity with this new meta once again? And for the Florida Mayhem, it is how have they integrated Checkmate? Is it going to be serviceable? Is he going to be playing the Winston? Or are they going to be trying to lean more towards Orisa compositions? I want to see the storylines for both of these teams moving forward in the Summer Showdown rather than just this match that we're seeing right now. So good looks hopefully for both teams, but yeah, Checkmate, as Danny said in the pre-show, good luck. I believe in you. We're all rooting for you, so we'll see how it goes.
You got
this.
this.
Yeah, I mean, expectations are not the highest, so anything he can do is outperforming them, right? Not a bad spot to be in if you're coming in as the underdog anyway. Now, it is time for bold predictions presented by Pringles and Reinforce. I unfortunately I can't take your Checkmate is gonna be subbed in one this time around for obvious reasons. Do you have anything else for me? Anything?
I also think that's not bold. You know, if the team is on Twitter, it's like, hey, Checkmate is going to play tank for us. I'm like, it's not bold to predict he's going to play. This was a tough one because you asked me this question like 5 minutes before we went live. It's like, hey, give me a bold prediction. And I thought like, okay, well, I could go Dallas Fuel 3-0. That's not really bold, is it? I mean, Dallas Fuel are going to 3-0 them. I could be like, well, for the Mayhem, they're not going to cap a single point. I mean, that's just rude. That's just disrespectful. Rude, yeah. I mean, that's not what we're here for. So I thought to myself, well, how about Fearless? He'll get 5 times as many Primal Rage kills as Checkmate. So if Checkmate plays Orisa, I win. If Checkmate plays Reinhardt, I win. So and if Fearless and Checkmate play Winston, I probably still win because Fearless is just that good at Winston. I feel like this is a win-win. It's bold.
5 times.
It's a good prediction. Yes.
It's a lot.
Can you, yeah. So
yeah, but remember that graphic we showed in the pre-show?
Yeah,
1.6 was the combined, or 1.7, yeah.
So Danny, if Checkmate got 5 Primal Rage kills, how many would Fearless have to get to be?
That's 25.
25.
25.
No.
Wait, let me do that again.
Quick math for Danny.
5 times 5. 5.
And with that, we're going to send it over to our casting duo for his match. You know, a Sideshow and Brent taking a breather for watching the England match, but we have a way better and more interesting match going on here on our servers. And for all the action, we send it over to actually the biggest Vancouver Titans fan in the league. That is Mr. X and his involuntary sidekick, Mitch.
I thought you were going to I thought you were going to introduce us as the most respectful caster duo. You know, after
you told me not to lie
to
you anymore, so I just speak my truth.
Yeah. Well, everybody always says I'm very respectful. That's one of the main things. Lots of people. Lots of people talk about that. This will be an interesting game. Florida Mayhem, they're almost in the lobby. Gargoyle's not in there. He's probably like, no, don't. It's like the kid getting pushed into the pool. He's like, I don't want to go in the water. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Look, they've lost 5 in a row. They got to try something. I think to get a tank. I mean, look at the Titans, right? You get Chunksick, and he has to play on high ping so far away from the rest of the team. That hasn't exactly worked out. So to put somebody in a situation where they're coming in, playing on a high ping with a new team that's on a 5-game losing streak probably isn't isn't that much better or probably worse than playing Checkmate here. So I'm interested in how it looks. Maybe it's something that gives some more energy to the team. What, Johnny? You got replaced by a Genji player and that team got better, so I mean...
What? You just said you're respectful like 10 seconds ago, mate. And you just pop off the point, Johnny.
I am. But he's starting to make a face. So, you know, look, people start, you know, you got to be the first one that throws the punch. You can't let other people throw punches to you. You know, you got to come out and be the aggressor.
I'm pretty sure that Matt is the only one who still talks about Florida Mayhem in Season 1 to this day. So they did something right, I guess.
It was one of the most memorable teams. They had fantastic walkouts.
Yeah,
they probably had the best walkouts ever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, listen, you know what Matt looks for in a sports team when he's referencing great walkouts. We're going to get you, though, Des, to walk out. I mean, it's going to shut you along. Call me a sidekick again to see what happens, by the way. All right, let's now jump into this second match.
They did
the Dallas Fuel.
You didn't do nothing?
Or they're lucky they're on the other end of the camera.
I think they called you an extra last week, which is even worse.
Listen, I'll start pulling strings, all right? I know Mr. Overwatch. I'm sat right next to the guy. It's not really difficult to make happen. Look, we haven't seen Dallas yet here in the Summer Showdown. But we did see them, of course, in the main melee. We know what they look like when there's an unbounded scenario in terms of, you know, hero pool and what's available. We know Dallas. They're absolutely a known quantity at this point. You kind of got a bit of juice for us there, sort of talking about maybe some of the limitations that the Mayhem are under right now, or, you know, why they're making this decision. But either way, it can't bode well against a team that probably has some of the best coordination with their main tank and other players, man.
I think the team that they go up against today makes it worse. Like if they were going up against your London or a Titans or somebody you know, in that kind of area where if you start to look at the standings, Florida is not too far away from those teams. But somebody who's a little bit easier, right? Not the team who's played in the finals of our first two tournaments. It may be a little bit easier of a pill to swallow, you know, having a DPS player coming in to play tank. We can take a look at the Dallas Fuel roster. Kick things off here. Nothing surprising at all. No Pine, right? That'd be the only thing we potentially could see. He
is still waiting on a visa, I believe, so... I mean, side note, he started to warm up to some of the old names that he had, so nice to hear that he's practicing hard to re-earn them here, Matt. But, I mean, this team, not shocking to see this. And, again, I think we saw it earlier on in the show in Watchpoint right at the start. The top 5 players in the league are all Dallas Fuel players, and, you know, Jexa, who, you know, he's a Lucio player, he's at 10 overall, so pretty insane.
Yeah, it's pretty beneficial if your team wins consistently. Only 5-3 record, like only 5-3 record in the actual season qualifier matches. But the extra league points from those tournament placings help them out a lot. The Florida Mayhem roster. So this is obviously the one that everybody's talking about coming into this game.
Sure.
BQB and Yaki. That'll be the DPS duo. Checkmate. We saw him play Doomfist last week. He'll play Tank.
Oh, look, they just told him. They just told him he was being played. He just swapped seats.
He knew. And I think this change looks very weird from afar. We haven't seen DPS players switch over to tank and perform at like a high level during the season. But for all the things I kind of talked about before, when you're looking to make moves for this Florida Mayhem team, right? You only have one sub. So you pretty much, all you can do, you're not going to take out BQB or Yaki. You're going to put in, probably try and make a move somewhere else where you wouldn't have taken out Gangnam Jin, you have Slime, you can play the main support. So the main tank really the only one.
Here's your map pool, ladies and gentlemen, as we head in. Li Xiangtao will be our first, and yeah, exactly. If you don't want to take the risk of, it is a risk. If you don't want to deal with, picking up a player, having him on high ping, this is sort of your option. I kind of like it. Oddly enough, it was kind of joked about that, Echo players kind of playing Winston, but I've actually watched some League DPS players sat in lobby practicing their juggling specifically. So. It might sound like a meme, but it is a skill set that quite a few DPS players have tried to develop. That's Winston Primal Rage mechanics. Now, again, there's a lot more to it than that. I think it's pretty asinine to say that, playing tank is such a one-dimensional experience, but, it's just a fun side note that there's a little more crossover these days with Echo in existence. Either way, Matt, for Checkmate, this is a bit more than a baptism of fire. You are walking straight on in to the 7th circle of hell, mate. You're going up against Fearless in the main tank role. We're not sugarcoating it. He is the top tank in the league. You best prepare yourself.
Yeah, I mean, this is a brutal game to just get yourself thrown into. Like we've kind of talked about, like coming in and playing against this type of team, it's going to be even harder. So we'll see Checkmate on the Rhine to keep things off, which I think a lot of us expected maybe to play a little bit more Winston, not go with the Reinhardt, but that's what they'll be playing here early.
Symmetra here for BQB. Yaki instantly blown up there. Sparkle's able to find him, but looks like there was a CC involved. Checkmate, though, gets rid of Fearless early on here. It's actually a really good start for the Florida Mayhem, Matt. I think knocking Harmbin off the map sets the Mayhem up there for a big fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest things that can happen there. So Florida looks like they'll be able to control this point first, which I think there is some like pressure on Dallas Fuel here. Like, you don't want to be the team that kind of loses or looks poor against the new tank of the Florida Mayhem. As Checkmate goes for a wild play there.
I love that. He has to face backwards to make sure he charges back towards his team, but you can definitely catch someone with that TP play. Now, it doesn't happen, obviously, but it looks so strange to see him charge backwards until you realize exactly what he's trying to do. This is looking excellent from Florida early on here. Checkmate looks pretty comfortable here on the right, and he's very close to his first shatter. He's at 50% ahead of Fearless.
Yeah, so everybody kind of moving together for the Mayhem. They look to be pretty coordinated. That'll be an Ant Matrix dropped here from Gangnam Jin, and that's going to be the Symmetra wall from Doha to split off the point.
Jaxel just a little bit concerned about the teleporter at this time. A bit of housekeeping, clearing away those turrets. Here's an Immortality field deployed as Fearless tries to step forward. He'll get one of his own, and they're both removed. Sound barrier for the Florida Mayhem's not going to save him in this fight, though. As self-destruct buys a little bit of time, the Meteor Strike comes down, and Gargoyle will be straight to 1 HP after remeching. And the Fuel are back in control.
Yeah, as Dallas flips that point fairly easily, and a lot of ultimates used there by the Mayhem. You know, you ended up using your Ant Matrix at the start, you know, Meteor Strike, your own Symmetra wall, so they're going to be dry on ultimates for a little bit. So Hanbin will have a self-destruct. That'll be the big ultimate here coming into this next fight to just kind of stall out the point.
All right, that's already an Immortality field gone down here. The Dallas Fuel want to play some aggressive Overwatch. Both tanks are down, but BQB's charged up and ready to run. Well, it's Gangnam Jin chiming in, getting rid of Sparkle. A very clean fight for the Florida Mayhem. This composition for the Dallas Fuel, at least the Rhine-centric one, is what got them success back in the May Melee, but the Mayhem look happy, Matt, to challenge them here.
Yeah, it's the Mayhem to flip the point right back, and now with an Ant Matrix of their own, looks like we do have a pause here potentially, so we'll have an idea of what's going on. It looks like that's the Florida Mayhem calling for the pause. Looks like it came from Gargoyle, so we'll have a look and see exactly what's going on there, but 71% on the point for the Mayhem. Point control, you have an Ant Matrix. You're in a pretty decent spot if you're the Florida Mayhem to take this first point.
Looks like Gargoyle, his headset turned off, I think. Yeah, he's tapping his headset, so we'll have to get him sorted out there in just a moment. This is really interesting. I think Dallas, I think I've tweeted about it. We actually use the term pace a lot right now here in the Summer Showdown because of so many of these Lucio-based comps are back with the Reinhardt, right? The Mayhem playing really fast. That teleport from BQB, it's not particularly elegant, Matt, right? It's a teleport. It looks like the Mayhem are heading to the White Room, and then they sort of take a detour and TP straight towards a point. And I don't think the Fuel are ready for them. Even if they get that first Immortality field kill, Dallas get overwhelmed eventually. And there's an Ant Matrix for both Batistes here.
Yes, it'll be the teleporter that goes down for Florida again. It was that same type of play they tried to set up before. Checkmate gets hit pretty hard, but that Ant Matrix in play. They have to be careful not to push through it, but Hanbin's going to take out Yaki as he went in deep.
Shatter, not too bad at all. It gets 3. Look like, though, the Dallas Fuel had their own response. Fearless able to get stunned on a few players there. The Mayhem is Sound Barrier to try and stay in the mix. They can't end around here, though, and we'll have an extension. Tough start to the fight for Checkmate, Matt, who couldn't even drop his shield for a moment to get off a Fire Strike with the Ant Matrix. He was just getting battered immediately by Doomfist.
Yeah, absolutely no time. But the Shatter actually before, is pretty decent, right? There's just no follow-up because nobody's up at the time. So you'll have Dallas, getting up above 50% here. You're not in the worst spot if you're Florida. You force a fight early, get them to use beat, maybe the Symmetra wall, but force some of these ultimates out. That's going to be a huge bomb there, though, from Gargoyle. Gets 3.
That may have been a miscalculation from the Dallas Fuel in terms of where they put down the Symmetra barrier. Brewed a little bit more towards the right than it would have protected those 3 players. Absolute pandemonium for the Dallas Fuel, and they can't really get a feel for it. And that'll be the first round of the Florida Mayhem. They're definitely the more aggressive team, and Dallas definitely taking a bit to warm up.
Yeah, and this is when you're on a 5-match losing streak, what do you really have to lose, right? If you are the Florida Mayhem. So they make this change. We weren't sure how it was going to pan out, but at least here in this first point, it didn't look all that bad. Checkmate was able to hold his own, even landed a big shatter that we kind of caught. So pretty good start here for Florida Mayhem.
Dallas now, frustration I'm sure as they head into this second round. Looks like composition-wise they're not going to be making any big changes. Neither will the Florida Mayhem. So again, both of these teams looking to try and outfox each other with this symmetric teleported chicanery. Try and outposition. That's just an aggressive charge. It forces immortality, Phil, but it's Reinhardt that are traded out ultimately here. Fielder has to reload for a second. That could cost him as Gargoyle is really bundling up the entirety of the Dallas Fuel, making it a nightmare for Fielder to keep his teammates alive. This is the worst situation to be in as Batiste, by the way, where everywhere you look, there's like a disparate pocket of teammates who need healing.
Yeah, maybe that just kind of caught Dallas off guard a little bit as you're on with BQB. He gets taken out as soon as he starts to put down a teleporter. And here come the Dallas Fuel just barging right on in.
This is the way the Checkmate is playing, Matt. You really don't see Reinhardt go for charges, especially in a meta like this, right, where Amp Matrix can make things much more volatile. Symmetra can burn you down really quickly. Checkmate is making it hard for Fearless to read him because he is charging. He's playing very aggressively. In the words of Taimu, he's definitely not a coward.
Yeah, I mean, that charge was, there's risky. That is whatever's after that. I mean, right directly into the tank. Is this going to be a charge through the TP again?
Oh, I love it. Doesn't work out again, but you got to appreciate the idea. Checkmate, though, walked straight into an Earth Shatter. It was a Symmetra barrier for the Dallas Fuel and the sound barrier to follow it up. A lot of barriers, and it takes all of that to try and hold the Mayhem at bay. This time, the Fuel start on the right foot.
Yes, Dallas heating up now. And how many times can you try that if you're Checkmate? I mean, if it works out, it looks incredible, right?
Until you have no HP left.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to pin somebody back into your team. This will be a chance for Checkmate to get his first shatter at this point. So we've already seen a shatter from Fearless. This will be a bomb that opens it up, trying to get a pin on the Rhine, not able to do so.
This guy, zero self-preservation instinct, Checkmate. Again, another charge to start the fight, and oh dear, it's not a good one. Hanbin finds 2 with the self-destruct and the Mayhem. Well, they're blasting off again, Matt.
And he ended up using his shatter during that as well. So we talked about working up towards his first shatter. There it was, not going to result in anything. So Dallas Fuel, one more fight they need to win here. They're going to have an Amp Matrix and a shatter of their own. So we'll see if they're able to make this a good shatter from Fearless. It's going to be a TP up to the high ground as they want to take the fight to him.
And there it is, beautiful shatter. That's 4 for Fearless. Yaki is the one that gets hit with the charge, and you can't ask for a better target. Very high value pickup, getting rid of the Doomfist there. And Sparkle finishes the job with Gangnam Jin. The Florida Mayhem, I'll be honest, Checkmate looks like he's currently suffering from demon possession. It's not working out, though. I think the Fuel started to get a feel for it. I think, listen, if you're the Dallas Fuel, you just ask yourself, what would I do if I had absolutely no fear?
If you had no fear, you'd be Checkmate.
You'd actually be Fearless, to be fair.
Trying to channel Bumper, trying to challenge Bumper, just kind of charging on in. So we'll see if it works out here. If you can, even if you lose this point, I think for Florida, you still have to look at this as a bit of a positive, right? You took one of, if not the best team in the league, to the final point on Control to kick things off. As we'll see if Dallas decides to stay on the Symmetra, or we see a swap. At least here, it'll look like the Symmetra, and they're going to play the Mei with it.
That's nasty. Gargoyle gets his mech absolutely ruined there. Obviously not the target you're always trying to catch out with the Mei wall, but it's a huge pickup if you can get it. Yaki's able to find Jexa there, but the Dallas Fuel are up in numbers, and they still have Fielders healing, plus the Mei wall to benefit from, so they'll try to go for an early cap here. With BQB out of the mixture, you have to assume it's over. That's a headshot with the Endothermic Blaster.
Yeah, as the Mei wall splits off Gargoyle, we saw a little bit just how low he was. They dealt quick with the Immortality Field, and it's a pretty easy fight after they get rid of the D.Va there. Kind of forces Checkmate to step up, not the best position, and you can see just how much more Fearless got in that first fight. 80% to a Shatter to Checkmate's 20. You're going to have a Blizzard already here for Doha, too. This is not looking good for Florida.
Unreal! Checkmate! I mean, it looks like there's an air matrix in front of him. He charges through the air matrix, gets away with it, and gets a kill. Eventually, he's going to be told to chill out. Doha has to ice block there. Slime that falls to Fielder's headshot, and the shatter from Fearless is good, but the chance to follow it up isn't really there. However, they can throw the Mei ball while they deal with Gargoyle, and Doha's... this guy is out of control! Another one from Checkmate. It doesn't find the kill, but he definitely contributes in a big way. And for Fearless, he can't keep track of this aggression. And no one can, unless you're clinically insane. Following the way he plays must be impossible.
Yes, it would be impossible, but I mean, you can't just keep going in there like that deep. Like, you know, creating space, causing some chaos, that's fantastic, but don't know if that's going to win you games against Dallas. You see beautiful Mei wall there from Doha. That's going to be the Immortality Field used early by Florida, and it's going to be Sound Barrier used as well.
Immortality Field, Fearless almost stepped outside of his own Immo there, and in fact, he does go down. It was Gargoyle, though, getting two with the self-destruct that really closes things out here for the Dallas Fuel. The Mayhem now, they got the point back, not a moment too soon. They spend a lot. Clearly, Checkmate's been to the LH Cloudy School of Reinhardt. It's going to have to be pretty darn good from here on out, though. 77-7.
So you're going to have to be pretty much perfect from here on out. You have a Symmetra wall here in Meteor Strike. They'll open it up with the wall. See if you can get any picks out of this. It's going to be a Shatter from Fearless. Looks like it gets absolutely nothing.
Yeah, wasn't great there. Fearless having to get rid of Gargoyle eventually. Yaki just going to use the teleporter to back away when he has no cooldowns, because that's obviously when he's the most vulnerable. But that puts him out of the fight maybe a little too long, and Sparkles exceeded his influence. Gangnam Jin, the second to fall there, and that'll be enough for Dallas to move straight back in. Matt, this is very scary for the Mayhem now, who don't have a lot of key ultimates to win this fight.
No, they got aggressive and they ended up losing, even while doubling down in a lot of that fight. And it's a Blizzard from Doha and then some picks from Fielder that swing it in the Dallas Fuel's favor. So Dallas, big wall there to set things up. Let's see if they can get a pick off of it. This has really made it difficult for the Florida Mayhem. These Mei walls have been great from Doha.
Sparkles looking clean behind the ears as well, Matt. Nicely done. The Florida Mayhem, they struggle a little bit too much. The Dallas turn things up a notch, and it's too much heat for the Mayhem to handle. First map, Dallas.
Not the worst performance, though, from the Florida Mayhem. Like we mentioned, a 5-match losing streak. They haven't looked very good in a while. It's been a lot of underwhelming performances considering how talented you view this roster to be. Checkmate did play a little bit crazy there, but he made some plays, right? Changed the game a little bit and almost got Florida a win there in map number 1. So we'll see how it progresses throughout the series, but the Dallas Fuel still remain strong.
I mean, there's one thing you know when you get Dallas versus Florida. It's always a no-holds-barred, knockdown, drag-out brawl. So stick around for more of that as map 2 looms large.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
What are you guys doing? We have a game right now. We have to go. Come on. Come on, Checkmate. Out of set. We gotta go. Come on.
Swing team game.
We got a game now. Wake up, Yaki. Okay, gargoyle. Just gargoyle. Just gargoyle. Gargoyle? Gargoyle. Have you been in here practicing this whole time? Okay, come on. We gotta go. Let's go. Okay, get in formation, everybody.
Yeah, not the sunniest of shores right now for the Florida Mayhem, golf carts or not. Sometimes, Matt, when you're down 5 losses in a row, you've just got to go for it. And Checkmate he's going for it, mate. Absolutely mental Reinhardt play from this guy. And we definitely saw, I think, the Dallas Fuel struggle with a little bit of that in that first round of Lijiang Tao, right? This unbridled aggression. It's not just Checkmate, you know, because it would look much worse if it was Checkmate the only one playing really aggressively, but it's BKB also teleporting them forward, getting right in the face of Dallas. This strategy, though, Matt, definitely seems like there's a bit of it's got a short shelf life, and I think Dallas managed to start to overcome it, start to work around some of these aggressive tendencies by the end of map 1.
Yeah, they do want to play fast and aggressive, the Florida Mayhem. I think it's just... is there a difference, I think, between fast and aggressive and, like, you know, coordinated kind of fast play, where sometimes they were, sometimes it was just, you know, 2 players all the way out in front, everybody else kind of lagging a little bit behind. That may come with time, though. Like, the more time they play with Checkmate, the main tank role, that may come with that. So... I think we're still a little bit kind of lost a bit on kind of how this will all play out. But
this
I
ain't
gotta
a rhyme
give them
map,
credit
Matt.
for trying to. They got to make a change. I mean, this roster, you know, BQB Yaki and Gangnam Jin, like, you know, that Gargoyle, like that roster, and is too good to be losing consistently in the league, right? I think the league is much more consistent, I think, strong across the board. But still, like,
much
these
more
players,
yes.
yeah, these players are very, very good. So you'd expect them to be able to even hang with some of the best, right? Not just kind of you know, flounder with loss after loss.
I mean,
so
I was on the Mayhem Hopium at the start of the season. I think I had him top 3 in my personal power rankings. So
the biggest thing I think we argued, you know, on the Plancha power rankings before the season was Florida versus Atlanta, who would be better. And right now, I mean, the way Florida's playing, it's not looking ideal. They're going to play the Orisa here. So Orisa Sigma, double shield with the Ashen playing. No,
okay, so it's not the full poke variant, so no Discord Orb to mess with feelers. A little bit more peel, I guess, so the backline.
Yeah, I was going to say the break is there to maybe defend against you know, the Winston dive onto whether it be BQB or Gangnam Jin.
You could definitely whip shot it. Like you can make it hard for Fearless here, but once he's on you, I mean, even this is fine.
I mean,
there's no Discord to pressure him.
Yeah, and they're so good at dealing with this. Like, there's the Immortality field. They're getting the card underneath. He jumps up. He's got a bubble. It's like you just kind of have the feeling like that Dallas Fuel will know how to break this, and it's going to be a nano on a Fearless already.
Yeah, he does go down early, though. Yaki's eventually able to pick him up. I think the Halt helps, but Fearless builds Primal, and a very early nano from Fielder. I think it's worth pointing out. Fearless soaked that damage so effectively. Because here's the thing, Matt. This comp from the Mayhem, very good at doing damage, right? Good, decent amount of poke damage, but without the Discord Orb, there's not a lot of lethality from Fearless.
They're not finishing anybody off.
Well, Fearless also knows, okay, I can take X amount of damage, and it's unlikely I'm going to be taken by surprise by, like, you know, taking more than that in a short space of time. It's just there's no Discord Orb. It can't be amplified. So I just soak, give Nano to Fielder and go again. Here's a Yaki Pulse, though. Immortality Field got deployed there by Gangnam Jim, so it only ends up being a trade. Gargoyle has gone down, so that's one of the shields out of the mix. There's still obviously one more, and Gangnam Jim is popping off now with his Air Matrix.
Yes, he drops the window there as Florida will get a hold before Dallas can get the cart over the line. You'll have a Grav coming up here. You know, Grav duplicate Pulse Bomb for the Dallas Fuel. Something you mentioned, though, with the No-Zen. It's a little bit kind of, you know, you looked at like maybe not having a backup tank, right, for Florida Mayhem as like a roster deficiency, whatnot, because Checkmate is their only sub, right? You know, Slime is not a Zen player. And he's not a player who's going to be able to play the Baptiste either at the same level as Gangnam Jin. So maybe you just can't play Zen back. Maybe that's just a roster kind of, you know, deficiency that this team's not able to come up with an answer for.
Deji Gravitic Flux. Stick another one from Yaki. That's 2 from 2 for Yaki's Pulse Bombs. That's a big part of what's making things so hard for the Dallas Fuel right now. They are getting proper slowed up here. And you're right, yeah, you know, obviously no Chris, no Byram on this Mayhem roster anymore, so...
Sparkle behind. You can see him emoting and going third person, looking through the